everybody, hello and welcome to another top 10 list, this one of 2023, which was a great year in cinema. Hope you've all had a wonderful year and a great happy new year and Merry Christmas and all that crap. Anyway, so this is a very special top 10, and the reason why it's special is not because the year 2023 was rather great in terms of cinema quality and some fantastic movies that came out, but today I am joined by a very special person. This is someone, if you follow me on social media, you've probably heard of her. Aside from being one of my very best friends in the whole wide world, she's not only been with me through this year 2023 journey in cinema, but she is also now the co-host of a podcast that we've got, which just launched today. I'll have all the details later on, so you can go check that out. But I would like to give a very warm welcome to my friend Frankie. Hello!
Hello!
How you doing today?
Not too bad. Nice rainy day.
Yes, it is. We're only happy when it rains, as they say. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming on board with this, which was your idea entirely to do this together, which is, yeah, as we've just been saying, this is the first time I've ever had a collaborator for my top 10 list, but I couldn't have picked anyone better. So, yeah, and everybody, be kind. This is her first ever YouTube video, so go easy on her. If I see one mean comment about my friend, I'm coming for you. No, not really. So yeah, so like me, you had a good 2023 in terms of movies, didn't you?
Yes, this was very hard. I generally don't rank films when I make lists of my favorites, but I have this time, and it took a lot of work. So, but it's fun.
Yeah,
it's always fun.
Because. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it would have been harder for you because you watch a lot more movies than I do. I mean, it's not that my love for movies has dissipated in any sort of way. I just don't have as much time as you do for watching movies.
Although our 2023 releases probably aren't too different, because a lot of them we both saw together.
We did indeed. So, for anyone who has never watched one of my top 10 lists, this is a list of, well, our favorite movies of the year. There were most likely better quality movies in a technical sort of way, but this is a list of the 10 movies that just sung out to us. And yeah, I mean, quite often, you know, a movie will come out that it might not be the best movie ever, but it could be just one that is fun and rewatchable and that you just tap into on a, you know, deeper level than a lot of other films. So yeah, this is not a list of the best quality movies. This is just our favorite movies. So I'm assuming that you're exactly the same on that respect.
Yeah, well, even in my list, it's quite funny. I just noticed once I finalized it that it's not even an order of my ratings of the movies. I have some higher than others that have a lower rating just because of the feeling of them. Even though I gave other ones higher ratings, then some of them just stood out more for me. I thought about them more or something. So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so kicking off this thing, as I have done in the past, I have a bunch of honorable mentions. These are movies that when I you know, put together the whole list of movies that I've seen throughout the year, these were ones that I was like, oh, does that make the cut? And sadly they didn't, but I'm going to give honorable mentions, and I'm not going to go too deeply into these films as we will with our actual top 10. So, in terms of my honorable mentions, and these are in no particular order, but first of all I've got Leave the World Behind, which is a movie that just recently came out on Netflix, and I loved it so much. It was so much deeper than I thought it was going to be, which was, you know, kind of a end of the world apocalyptic film. But yeah, it went really, really deep, and I loved every minute of it. I've also got It's a Wonderful Knife, which was a movie that I watched and saw again 2 days later. I could not wait to see it again. It had so much heart. It had so much substance for a slasher film. Yeah, that's going to be a Christmas staple for me. I also have Knock at the Cabin, which was one of M. Night Shyamalan's good films. I mean, that guy is so hit and miss, but that film stuck with me throughout the year. again, yeah, it didn't quite make top 10, but I've thought about it quite a bit, so I thought that should get an honourable mention. Another one which I've got on my list is Cocaine Bear, because it's Cocaine Bear. I mean, I don't need to say anything else. It is Cocaine Bear. It belongs on the list, yeah. I also put The Little Mermaid on there, so yes, for anyone out there who's like, oh my god, she's black, oh my god, women and whatever, I don't know, screw you, I loved it. I went into it with very minimal expectations, and I was dazzled by that film. I thought it was sensational. And two more that I've got, a recent watch, thanks to a recommendation by Frankie, is the movie Joyride, which was one of the funniest movies I've seen this year. It was one that, even when I was watching it on my own, I was in tears laughing. It is so funny. I cannot recommend that enough. And my last honourable mention goes to Thanksgiving, which is a welcome return to the good films of Eli Roth, because I love that man when he's at the top of his game, and this was absolutely one of his best films. So, so those are my honourable mentions. Over to you.
I also had It's a Wonderful Knife and Leave the World Behind on my honourable mentions. I would add No One Will Save You, which was very close to making my top 10 and just kind of got kicked out at the last minute. Dungeons and Dragons,
Ooh.
which we spoke about earlier. That controversial. I loved it. I rated it highly, but it was just more in the... I was rewatching a few movies to work out the order, and I just...
Wow.
It just wasn't grabbing me. I think it's more a mood movie, and so because of that, I gave it space to someone else. Also,
okay.
Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo I loved, but...
Oh, yeah. Actually, I now have 8 honourable mentions, because, yeah, that was also a movie that surprised me. Yeah.
Although a lot of what I loved about that was David Harbour, so if he wasn't in it, would it be quite as enjoyable as it was?
Yeah.
Don't know. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, and...
Honourable mentions?
Pipeline.
Whoa, hang on a second. Wow, okay. I am really keen to get stuck into your list, because, wow, Mission Impossible didn't make the cut.
It was, as I heard someone else say, spectacle movie, lots of cool things in it, but I don't know, overall, just hasn't stuck with me like some other movies.
Ooh, alright. Well, not only is this a first-time collaboration for you, but this could also be the public demise of our friendship. We shall see. And sorry, I did interrupt, so what was your final honourable mention? Because I'm being rude.
How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
Right, which I haven't seen, so yeah, I can't really comment on that one, but alright, well this is going to be an interesting list.
I just wanted to say as well, before we get into our top 10, that as we're in Australia, there's a number of movies that a lot of people have on their top 10s this year that aren't actually released here for a few more weeks. So Poor Things, The Iron Claw, All of Us Strangers, and Anatomy of a Fall, I'm highly anticipating, and hopefully they'll be on my 2024 list.
Alright, so that being said, let's get stuck into our top 10 favourite movies of 2023. I should also add that there are a lot of movies that I just haven't gotten around to seeing yet. Across the Spider-Verse, I know is one that people are going to go, oh my god, how can you not have that on your list? Godzilla -1, I didn't get around to. There are a ton of movies that I just didn't get to see this year, but I will eventually. So these are movies that we've actually seen, and I'm going to hand it over to you to start this list, because I am really keen to hear what you got.
So my number 10 is Joyride.
Woohoo!
Which you just mentioned.
I did.
Because I did not expect to like it as much. I don't know, I guess comedies, you never know if it's going to be your kind of comedy. But the trailer looked really fun, so I watched it and it was really fun. So, I don't know, I just felt like we don't really get movies like this that often, like theatrically and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought I'd just give it number 10 because I like a fun movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being on my honorable mentions list, that was one that I was heavily considering putting into my list because, yeah, I mean, I just bought the Blu-ray the other day, so I've committed to this film. It was just hilariously funny, and I am very grateful that you recommended that one to me. So, yeah. All right, so as far as my number 10, I thought long and hard about this one, but I've put the Marvels in for number 10. Oh my goodness, again, women and directed by a black woman. Oh no, I'm so woke. I had so much fun with that movie. I thought the cast were brilliant. I mean, Miss Marvel, I love the TV show. She's just so much fun to watch on screen. The dialogue was great. I'm one of the rare people who actually thought the villain was really good. I thought she was one of those villains that actually really had a purpose and that you kind of understood, which, you know, like Thanos, like you kind of got why she was doing what she was doing. And she wasn't just kind of like, ooh, I'm evil, you know. She was more of a sympathetic villain. So I thought she was great. And what can I say? I've never seen that many cats in one film in my entire life. Even the movie Cats didn't have as many cats as the Marvels did. I know they're technically flirkins, but I don't care. They're cats. So yeah, that came in at number 10 for me. I had so much fun with that movie. So yeah, and I know you haven't seen it yet.
And that is one that I missed.
Yeah.
I look forward to all the cats.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so number 9, what you got?
Number 9 is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which is a bit of a nostalgia thing because based on the Judy Blume book, which I read when I was a kid, and the girl's 11, I think, 11 or 12, something like that. And so just I have memories of, you know, conversations and things with my friends like in the movie. So that was just really fun. And I don't know, it's not a lot to say about it, but I just thought it was really great. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah,
I just felt like I couldn't leave that one off my list.
yeah, absolutely. No, I have not seen that film, and nor do I really know anything about it other than it was mentioned in Deadpool, which I just rewatched for the billionth time last night. There is actually a bit where Wade Wilson says, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." And it clicked to me last night. I was like, "Hang on a second, that's that movie that Frankie was talking about." So, yeah. All right, cool. Well, yeah.
Yes, very famous book.
Right. All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to check that one out. As far as my number 9, I have Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which for me was one of the biggest surprises of this year. I went to, we went to the screening of that, and I didn't expect much. I thought the trailers looked okay, but not great. But of course, you can never judge a movie by its trailers. That is just ridiculous. So I thought, you know, we'll give it a go. And oh my God, it was so much fun. I absolutely loved the chemistry between Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez. I thought their characters were great. All the characters in this film, Hugh Grant's villain was just so different to any villain we've ever seen. Actually, yeah, my number 10 and number 9 both had memorable villains. Everything about that film was just so entertaining, and I remember we walked out just feeling giddy with excitement. And yeah, I haven't rewatched it since then. I bought the Blu-ray when it first came out, but I'm yet to actually rewatch it again. But that's the thing. Even though I've only seen it once, it really stands out in my head. So, yeah, that movie came in at number 9 for me. So, moving on to number 8, what you got?
The Pope's Exorcist.
Woohoo!
So this one, I just think, I don't know, it's horror, it's an exorcism movie, which is pretty straightforward. But then what makes this is Russell Crowe. It's just so funny, this character. I can't remember his name, but Gabriel Amort.
I think you
anyway,
did remember it.
He's just fun, makes the movie, I think, yeah, I just, just not sure of the pronunciation of that. But yeah, I don't know, it's a lot of fun, and I think that just makes it a bit different from, you know, your typical exorcism movie. And yeah, it brings in the fun and the comedy just because his character just, yeah, I don't know, it was a fun time. I know this surprised a lot of people, and I'm glad, because I think exorcism movies have a bit of a bad rap now, and everyone just complains about them a lot because they're not The Exorcist, which, you know, you're never going to get a movie like that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good time with this, and I hope that they will make a sequel.
Yeah, no,
Or 99 sequels.
Yeah.
No, wait, 199.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, look, I too, yeah, I mean, yeah, we had a great time seeing that film, and I really enjoyed it, and I just bought it on Blu-ray the other day. I will have to watch it again, because I remember really enjoying it, but yeah, it didn't quite stick with me as much as it did with you. So yeah, I'm very keen to rewatch that one.
Yeah, I watched it again the other day, and I had a good time again.
Excellent. All right, so speaking of horror movies, my number 8 is Talk to Me, a movie which, when I first saw it,
that's higher.
Ah, okay, all right. In that case, I'm going to refrain from discussing it right now, because we will discuss it later on. It was almost higher for me, but yeah, we'll get into that. All right.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it wasn't.
Yes. Well, we will explain why when we get to yours. So, all right, number 7 then.
Number 7 is The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Okay.
Which I actually only just watched the night before last, and I like the Hunger Games movies, so I thought I'd like this one. I have not read the book because I just missed the book when it came out.
Right.
For some reason, so I went in not knowing what I was going to get, and I loved what I got. And I just thought Rachel Zegler and Tom Blythe, if that's how you say their names, I should have looked that up. I'm sure it is. They were both excellent, and she sings in it, and I really like the songs and the style of music they did, and I thought it was a really good kind of villain origin story for President Snow, which, I mean, is quite a great character. So I finished that, I straight away bought the book and then listened to the soundtrack, and yeah, I want to watch it again. So I look forward to watching it again. I'll probably read the book and then watch it again.
Okay.
When the physical 4K comes out. So yeah, that was my late entry. I had to do a bit of shuffling to.
Right. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't realize that you enjoyed the movie that much. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's not a movie that I'm probably going to watch, because yeah, I am not a Hunger Games fan. I saw the first one, and it was way too much like, no, I'm not going to grab it off my shelf because it's all the way over there. Battle Royale, one of my favorite Japanese movies. I just sat there and thought, yeah, no, that's too much like that one. So, yeah, I didn't get into the Hunger Games. Not to disparage anyone who did, because yeah, I'm sure they're great. Which clearly they are, because top 10, there you go. So for me, number 7 is a movie that, I know for a fact you're about to say higher, because this is a movie that is very high up on a lot of people's lists. Some people have said it's number 1 for this year, and that is John Wick Chapter 4.
Ooh, higher.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Absolutely knew it. And again, I have reasons why it... Well, just because every other movie I liked more, but it's just as simple as that. All right, well, in that case, let's move on to number 6 for you.
Okay, number 6 is one that you may have higher. And I thought you might have said it before. Barbie.
Higher!
No?
Yes, higher. Oh, yeah. I've got that one higher. I thought
you were going to shock me by having another one not on your list.
Oh, are you kidding me? My God.
You're number 6.
Wow, the fact that I'm not wearing my Malibu Barbie shirt right now should surprise a lot of people, but yeah. All right, so for me, number
Hey,
6.
you surprised me with Talk to Me.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. So for my number 6, and I know this is a movie that you haven't seen yet, so I'm about to get stuck into this one, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. A film that, oh my god, okay, so if you've been following my channel, you know I am a massive Guardians of the Galaxy fan. Say hi, Gamora. Hi, Gamora. Those movies are just, oh my god, so much more than MCU films for me. I mean, I'm also a massive James Gunn fan. Like, just everything about them I love. This film, I thought, okay, great, Guardians film. Went and saw it. And no film this year has made me ugly cry harder than this film did. I thought it was an outstanding message about animal cruelty and addressing that issue. It was so deeply sad. I mean, I saw it once and I couldn't bring myself to watch it again because it was just too sad. And then when the Blu-ray came out, I was like, okay, I'll sit down and watch listen to the commentary by James Gunn. Even then, I cried 3 times, not even hearing the dialogue in the film. And then, of course, you get to the end of the commentary, and even James himself said he cried during the recording of it. Like, that is one of the saddest films I have ever seen in my life, but it's essential viewing. It's that kind of thing. You've got to take that bullet, you know, in order to watch this film, because it's a very important film. I think in terms of the kind of social messaging of the MCU films, this one was probably the one that resonated with me the most. So, yeah, that film had to be on my top 10, which I've just noticed I have 2 MCU films in my top 10 this year. Well, there you go. Who says the MCU is dead?
Yeah, that's why I haven't watched that one yet. Guardians. I almost watched it recently, just in case. Although I didn't think it would make my top 10, just because based on the last 2 movies, I like them, but I don't absolutely love them. So I thought I'll give that a miss because I didn't want to cry.
Yeah, no, that's totally
basically
understandable.
the reason I haven't watched that movie yet is for what everyone has said. I'm like, yeah, I'll have to just, I don't know, hate myself one day and want to cry to put myself through a movie like that.
Yeah. Oh, you will. I promise you, you will.
Yeah.
All right. Number 5. Let's do it.
Okay, number 5 is Talk to Me.
Ah, right. Okay, now we can get stuck into this one. You first.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved that it was different, and yeah, I don't know. It's pretty full on for a horror movie rather than the very kind of Hollywoodish Blumhouse kind of version. It just kind of was darker and went harder and surprised me and was just really creepy and disturbing and fun. And I like those kind of movies.
Disturbing and fun. Wow, that's reveals a lot about your character. So, if anybody wants to find out more about Frankie, just tune into Australia's Most Wanted. Yeah, look, no, but I completely agree. I had no idea. Actually, no, I kind of did have an idea because, I mean, that movie debuted, it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think, and then dropped to like 98 or whatever. But like, you know, everyone was just, oh my god, proclaiming this film as the, you know, absolute best horror film that's come in decades and all this sort of stuff. And so I kind of thought, okay, like a lot of people have said that, so maybe it might be pretty good. Yeah, went and saw it, and my god, that movie disturbed me so much. I like felt it in my bones, and you know, for a movie to do that, like I was trembling by the time we walked out of the theater. You know, one scene just made me tear up. I was just so emotionally affected by it. The fact that it was directed by a couple of YouTubers, I thought was amazing. Just everything about it, the performances, practical effects, you know, just so many things about that film I absolutely loved as well. But yeah, the only reason it was number 8 on my list was because I remember walking out of the theater when I saw that film, and I thought, oh my god, I think that's my number 2 movie of this year. I loved it that much. But over time, I don't think it was as entertaining as a lot of the other films that I've been putting on my list, and I mean, for me, primarily, I like to be entertained, and that film's not entertaining. That film is just, oh wow, it's like you said, deeply disturbing. So that's the only reason why it was a bit further down on my list, but still top 10. So yeah. All right, so number 5 for me is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Shame on you for having it in your honorable mentions only. Oh my god, that film. I mean, yeah, like I said, I like to be entertained. It doesn't get much better than Mission Impossible. I mean, that is a franchise that is just getting progressively better and better as it goes along. And just when you think, how can it possibly get better than it was, along there you come, like, hold my beer. This film just had everything I want to see in a cinema. It had some of the most insane action sequences ever committed to film or digital, whichever one they used. I don't really need to go into why that movie is so amazing. Everybody knows why those films are so amazing, and I'm just going to sit here for 10 minutes rattling on about how great it was. But that easily was top 10 for me. So yeah,
it was a good time. I had fun watching it. It was in my top 10 for most of the year. It was only just when I really thought about it in the last week or so to finalize that I just felt there was other movies that just, I don't know, stuck with me more. Besides, I mean, that one had the really good stunts and everything, and it was great, and I love the franchise, and I'm looking forward to the next one, but not quite top 10.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair enough. All right, let's get stuck into number 4.
Okay, sticking with horror and more entertaining horror than Talk to Me, Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, that's higher. Yeah. But you know what? We may as well just get stuck into that. Oh, actually, no, hang on. No. Well, I've missed a number here, so no, hang on a second. Never mind. Yes, that one is higher for me. So you just shushes your mouths right now, because we'll get talking about that one very shortly. For my number 4 is Barbie. Yeah. I had a feeling, for obvious reasons, I had a feeling that I was going to like that film. Someone who was cast in the film, Ryan Gosling, that's right, I'm a huge fan. I had a feel, like, Greta Gerwig is such a great director. Margot Robbie, she's alright. A lot of things appealed to me. I thought the trailers were so well done, like the marketing behind this film. If I had to do a top 10 list of films that were marketed this year, it would be Barbie, and then probably Oppenheimer down the bottom. But only because that was riding on Barbie's coattails. Yes, I said it. I don't mean it, but yeah, I said it. Anyway, the fact that you could go along to a screening and there were hundreds, and I do mean hundreds of people everywhere you look, dressed in pink or cowboy hats or glitter or whatever. Like, it's sold out cinemas, for so long. It was a phenomenon. There is just no other way of describing that film. It was a cultural phenomenon this year. But, I mean, look, for me, it delivered. It had a really poignant message that was so important. I personally didn't think that it was bashing men over the head with the pro-feminist message, but even if it was, it had to, because we've reached a point where men still aren't listening to that message, so in order to make them listen, you have to bash them over the head. That's just my theory. But yeah, look, the production design in that film was incredible. The fact that so much of it was real, they actually built like a smaller scale Barbie car for humans, and the houses, everything, the costumes. This film, just across the board, for me, was an absolute winner, and that definitely made my number 4 spot for this year.
Yeah, I really loved this too. I remember having fun playing a trick on you because I saw it first.
You did.
And I sent you a message saying something like, I have some bad news for you about Barbie, and then I purposefully waited for you to see it before I said the next part, which was actually bad news for me. And that was because I actually found Ryan Gosling charming and really fun, which has never happened before in any movie I've seen him in, which I think taught me the lesson that he's good in comedy. So I've seen a couple of other things since, and but that was really fun. I did think the message was very in your face, but it didn't spoil the film. I didn't like the final scene either. That was a pretty silly ending, but you know, it's a silly film, but in the best way. It was so much fun, and right from the opening, like the song playing while Barbie is getting up and starting her day and everything, you just knew that you're in for a good time. And Michael Cera as Alan was just a highlight. He kind of stole the show, even though he didn't have a lot to do. Yeah, that was such a good time at the cinema.
All right, so we are getting now into the nitty gritty. We're getting into the top 3 movies of 2023.
Yeah.
What do you got, number 3?
All right, my number 3 is sticking with the horror, going back to disturbing. It's When Evil Lurks.
I thought that might be in your top 3, yeah. And why did that appeal to you so
Not
much?
On your list?
It's not on my list, no, because it didn't stick with me. I remember, you know, as I was watching it, I was blown away. Like, I was like, holy crap, you know, this movie's so great. But it's one of those things now where I don't remember much of it. And I've kind of got to watch it again and again, I think. Like, I do definitely want to rewatch it. I mean, I did very much enjoy it, of course. But, yeah, it just didn't stick with me. Unlike you.
Yeah, well, I like that this one actually paid off. There was a lot of hype around. I was listening to some horror podcasts, people who'd seen it at festivals, and there was just a lot of talk about how brutal it was, and everyone loved it. And sometimes that doesn't work out, like a certain other film that we watched earlier in the year. But this one did, and I did watch Terrified a couple of weeks before it came out, because that's another one that's been on my radar for years. And so once I watched that, and that's more a scary film rather than this one's disturbing, but just watching that and knowing that he made that film, I was like, okay, I'm ready for the next one. And yeah, they're both really good, and I would recommend both of them to everybody. But yeah, I just love too, you're dropped in this world where possession is like a disease, and it's just kind of normal in this world. It's not, you know, something that people have to believe. And I just had some really surprising moments and where things went, and like the scene with the dog. I'll just say that. But yeah, I don't know. It made an impact, so it ended up higher on my list. I was playing around between this and Evil Dead Rise and Talk to Me, and they all moved around a bit in the list.
Alright, so speaking of horror films, you can probably guess from what I just said what my number 3 is going to be, and that is Evil Dead Rise. So, yeah, that film I had really, really, really high hopes for going into it. I am a huge Evil Dead fan, aren't I, Ash? And I thought the remake, whatever it was that came out a few years back, I thought that was incredible. I loved that it went for a more kind of serious, dark, disturbing tone. So going into Evil Dead Rise, I was like, oh, I hope this is going to be good. And oh man, I loved that film so much. From that opening title card that came up, which just blew my mind, to everything in this film. It retained that kind of serious, disturbing tone, but it also managed to have that element of fun that the Evil Dead films are known for. I loved all the nods to past films, everything from the pizza box to lines of dialogue. I loved that we had two like central female characters. Everything about that film blew my freaking mind, and that was a film that not only was I entertained, but I could not wait to watch it again and again and again. You know, that's what I mean about these films being my favorites of the year, because that was a film that I needed to see again so badly, and every time I've watched it, it's still, and I do find it scary as well. Like, it is a actually genuinely scary Hollywood horror film. That one, I think throughout the year I've been sort of pushing it back on my list a bit, but thinking about it now, that one definitely made my number 3 for the year. So there you go. We both had horror films for our numero tres, as they say in Japan or somewhere. Yay! All right, we're down to the last 2. What have you got at your number 2 for 2023?
Number 2 is John Wick Chapter 4.
Woohoo! All right, now we can talk about this, because I know you were a huge fan of that film.
Yeah, I had a John Wick weekend. I had never got around to seeing the first 3 films, so I watched them all over a weekend, which actually worked out really well, since it's pretty much one story split into the different films. So it was good to watch them all together and then go see the new one. And I was worried about the runtime, but I mean, it was John Wick. It's action all the way, non-stop, and it was so fun. Bill Skarsgård was great, being a nicely dressed villain who popped up in his pretty suits that matched each location, and it just was a good time. I actually just saw on Twitter earlier someone posted a video of that scene where the aerial camera just going around while they're fighting in all the rooms, and I was just like, so many good moments in that. And I haven't watched it again. I really wanted to, but I haven't had time. That's the downfall with longer movies, but I do look forward to watching it again.
Look, I also loved that movie. I think I saw it 3 times in the theaters and then bought the Blu-ray and watched it again. So I've seen it 4 times this year, which, I definitely loved it. So much to love about that film. I thought the characters were amazing. The cast was just fantastic. It was just a fitting conclusion to the saga. I kind of hope that they don't keep going with it, because no spoilers obviously, but we all have our theories as to what that last shot meant. I still haven't seen the Continental TV show yet, which I'm very keen to, but like you said, despite the runtime, it was such a entertaining film. What's not to love about it? The only reason it was back a bit on my list was, again, I just found certain films that this sort of meant more to me, but so look, for my number 2, this was a movie that when we saw it back in February earlier in 2023, I was blown the F away by this movie. It resonated with me on such a deep level. I thought the craftsmanship that went into this film was stellar. And it is a film that, despite having only seen it the one time when we went and saw it nearly a year ago, I can still vividly remember every single scene that happened in the film. I am desperate to watch it again. I just haven't gotten around to it. And that movie is Babylon. I mean, you know what I was like when we walked out of that theater. I just felt like it was such a love letter to cinema goers and to movie fans and filmmakers and the world of cinema. I thought it was really cleverly executed. I thought the characters were so memorable. I thought the performances were just out of this world. Yes, it is another Margot Robbie film, but I can't help that. It wouldn't have mattered who they cast in that role. I still would have loved it so much. I do really love the fact that they finally addressed the whole, sort of internet meme of Margot Robbie and Samara Weaving being the same person by putting the two of them in the same scene together. I thought that was outrageously clever and kind of a film buff in-joke. But yeah, Damien Chazelle is just such a top tier director. Everything he does is outstanding, and this was possibly my most favorite of his films, and I know you're gonna kind of scowl at me for saying that might be above La La Land, but I really, really, really loved Babylon and cannot wait to watch it again, which I'm amazed I haven't, but it's because it lives here. It's just replaying all the time, 24 hours a day in my head.
I liked it, but not anywhere near as much as you. Of the 4 of his films I've seen, that's maybe 3rd or 4th. Right.
No, that's fair enough. Oh, look, I get that it's not a film for everybody. There is so much of the film that is gonna either repulse people, put them off. They're not gonna really just connect with the film. It is a strange kind of a film. But yeah, that movie just, for me personally, it did it for me. It really did.
It's a weird film. I actually didn't like the beginning of it. I did warm up later on, and I know you would hate me to say this, but I actually found Nellie quite annoying. So there was that as well.
No, just kidding. Yeah, she was, but I don't know. I found that, look, I don't mind characters that are annoying if it works for the story, and her character worked for that story, I thought, personally. I do agree with you. I just thought she was still a really great character.
So, do we have the same number 1?
I have a feeling that we quite possibly do, because this is a film that you and I both went and saw. We didn't get to go to the premiere of it, but yeah, we finally saw it, and oh man. Oh no, that's right, I saw it before you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Of the 5 times I went and saw this film in theaters. But yeah, I went with you for your first time seeing it, and oh man, it blew us both away. Would you like to tell our beloved viewers what our number 1 movie of 2023 is, and let's just hear everyone's outrage?
It is The Flash.
Woohoo! I'm gonna hand it over to you. Why did you love this movie so much?
Well, this was a surprise. I pretty much knew nothing about The Flash before this, except for in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I watched. So I didn't know anything about the character, so fresh eyes, all that. Happy to see Michael Keaton come back. And yeah, this movie is just so fun. I love the whole meeting yourself thing, which just, I thought Ezra Miller did really well. It was so funny. And young Barry, see, this is an annoying character that I do love. So it's not like I hate all annoying characters and whatever. It depends on the movie itself. Yeah. So young Barry's annoying, but like so fun, and just the two of them bouncing off each other. And yeah, I don't understand the hate for this film. I don't know if it makes a difference if you read comics, although you read comics, so I don't know, but this movie made me a full-on Flash fan, and I'm watching the TV show now, and I'm gonna be reading the comics, so yeah.
And I do believe just behind your right shoulder there, is that your Flash and Batman statues?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
the two Barrys are on pre-order as soon as they come in, and I I will have them as well.
Awesome.
I was just going to say that it's one that I went to see it a second time after work one day and was worried if I would like it as much, because I was like, is it just first time? Everything's new and fresh. So I went and saw it again and loved it just as much. And then I saw it a third time when we went to see it 4DX, which just added even more to it.
Yeah, look, I mean, I am a hardcore DC fan. I have been ever since I was a toddler. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, I grew up on all of those heroes. Like, I was aware of Marvel, but it wasn't, I don't know, I just gravitated towards DC. Later in life, when I got into comic books, yeah, the Flash, Green Lantern, all of those characters, you know, were on my radar. And then, of course, I became absolutely obsessed with one Harley Quinn. So yeah, DC is a really, really, really big part of my life. And so when this film was announced and they were talking about bringing Michael Keaton back as Batman, which just, I was giddy with excitement about that. And I mean, every time, even now, like, I mean, I've lost count of how many times I've seen the film. I know it was 5 times in cinemas. Every time you first see Bruce Wayne on screen, I just get goosebumps. And when he goes into the Batcave and turns everything on, and it's just like, and you hear that iconic theme tune and stuff, oh my God, it was like this film was made for me, you know. And I thought Sasha Calle as Supergirl is just still possibly my favorite character of this year. I loved how she was a deep character. You know, she was this alien who was here, but, you know, decided that humanity wasn't worth fighting for. I really dug that, you know, and it was sort of through Barry and Barry's actions that kind of showed her that, oh, you know, maybe there is a glimmer of hope and stuff. I thought that was great. In terms of everything that people hated about it, which was mostly the CG, like, people seem to miss the point that it was meant to look otherworldly. It was meant to look weird. I mean, the director himself came out and said it, and then, of course, everyone's like, oh, bullshit, you're just backtracking. It's like, no. I had no problems with it. Yeah, it did look weird, but so what? A lot of things in films look weird. I thought all the nods to past Superman and Batman and Supergirl characters, the Nicolas Cage scene, I mean, every time I went and saw it, I'm just sitting there thinking there are 3 people in this theater who will get that joke. But yeah, there's just so much about that film. And in terms of me favoring films that entertain me, it does not get better than The Flash. The baby shower scene, I mean, oh my God, there's just so much of this film. And like you said, it had such a heart to it. I mean, yeah, all the stuff about Barry and his mum, especially that finale in the supermarket, my God, like, for a, you know, bright and fun comic book film to tug the heartstrings that much really says something about the film's quality. So, yeah, like you, for me, yeah, The Flash was definitely numero uno for this year, and I'm so glad that we got to share that as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, we have good top 10s. A lot of the same, a lot of different.
Yeah.
But yes, number 1, most important, and that's where we match.
Yeah, no, that was a great list from you, and yeah, like you said, it was our lists were on par in many areas, but definitely had enough differences there to keep things interesting. So, all right, well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been so much fun having you on here, and for everyone to get to meet you. If you guys want to check out our podcast, which we'll be releasing every second Friday, I will put all the links down in the description box. You can just go down there and click upon them and go and have a look at what we're getting up to. So, yeah. Any final words, Miss Frankie?
No, I think that's it. It's been a great year for movies, and I look forward to lots more good movies in 2024. And yeah, lots of good podcast chats coming up, which hopefully people will enjoy listening to.
Yeah, I certainly hope so, because otherwise, what's the point in doing it? But anyway, all right. Well, yes, once again, thank you so much for coming on board. And if you guys want to chime in down below with your top 10 lists for 2023, we would really be interested to hear them, because like I said, I know there are a lot of movies that people are going to be like, oh my God, you didn't put this movie on the list. And yeah, it's most likely because we didn't see it. But in the case of Oppenheimer, if you comment down below, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't have that on your list, it's because I thought it sucked. So there you go. There's just no sugarcoating that one. But yeah, there are so many movies that that I didn't get to see. It really was a big year for movies, and yeah, it was just a bit hard to catch up. But anyway, so yeah, fire away, drop your list down below, because we like to talk about movies, and we'd love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.